What's happening, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. It is Figure It Out Friday. Let's go. I'm fired up today. I've got a special guest with me, Chelsey Albert. And ooh, wee, does she have a story? She has a
Hey,
story.
good morning, Jim. I'm so excited to be here.
Let's go. Let's go. We're going to have a great conversation today. Chelsea's going to tell us a little bit about a time where she had to figure it out and how she navigated through that and some lessons. So we can pour into you this morning. As you know, we always like to end the month with Figure It Out Friday. We like to end the month um, giving you the nuggets, the wisdom, the lessons. And I'm just grateful to be here. I'm grateful to bring on Chelsey, who's a good friend of mine. And I want to tell you a little bit about my experience with Chelsey, if that's okay. Not only is she a friend, she's an intuitive healer. She is gamifying the business process and gamifying life with her app, Tasklandia, and she is just a ray of light and so much positive energy. Chelsey and I have worked together in multiple different capacities. She was a recent keynote speaker at my conference, 7 Minutes of Impact. We also have another 7 Minutes of Impact coming up April 23rd. So if you're in Nashville, if you want to come listen to some live country music, meet an amazing room of movers and shakers, please come. Send me a message directly. I'll give you a promo code. And yeah, she crushed the stage. I had so many amazing comments, texts, emails, and she talked about this amazing concept around your belief system and how it can be signaled as BS sometimes. And I absolutely loved it. So, I'll let Chelsey give a quick introduction if there's anything I missed, and then she's going to dive right in to how she had to figure it out. Help me welcome Chelsey Albert. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Jim. I mean, honestly, it is so good to just have any kind of chat with you and to be with you guys this morning. I am so, so stoked. Thank you. Um, Gosh, and the impact event was fun, wasn't it? Oh my God, like it was just fun. Guys, definitely go. If you haven't made it to the first one, make it to this one. It's gonna be so yeah, my basic story is I am an intuitive hypnotherapist and I work a lot with people who are dealing with anxiety, trauma, phobias, all the deep stuff that, you really can't get to at the conscious level. And a year ago, I that I was going to build an app. And okay, so it's funny. You told me you were going to ask me this question, and I was of my entire freaking life trying to figure out a time where I figured it out, which was the best time to talk about. So I'm going to kind of riff a little bit today. There might be a couple times I figured it out that I'll share with you because, you know, a very early age, I've always been someone who tinkers with things, and I have never uh, exactly had the knowledge of what I couldn't do until I started. So I last year walked into a Barnes and Noble and told my boyfriend, I'm going to build an app. It can't be that hard. Um, and I was very, very wrong about that. But I, I'll tell a little teeny tiny backstory of like a mini figure it out moment in the lesson that I got from that, and then a little bigger figure it out if that's all right with you guys. I fixed a refrigerator with foam tape and lash tweezers when I was in my first apartment out here in Tennessee. It was making this grinding noise and over and over again. It got worse and worse and worse and worse to the point where me and my ex-husband, we were not getting sleep. We were at each other's throats. And finally, on a day off, I said, you know what, F it. We had called the maintenance guy and he just turned off the refrigerator, which is not really the best solution after a few days. So I took a screwdriver, dismantled the back panel, and just stared at it for about 20 minutes and tried to see what was the root of the problem. And then I realized that, okay, maybe the sound is going, there's something hitting something here. So I cushioned it with the tape, did some things and tinkered and basically turned into a mad scientist with knowledge that I had, again, no idea that I didn't have. Now, eventually it turned out to be an electrical thing, so I did have to call someone, but it worked. And I slapped the back panel on and ended up getting a good couple more weeks out of the refrigerator. Um, and the lesson there is sometimes you have to disassemble things. You don't always have to break things to figure them out, but you do have to take them apart a little bit. And that is, I think, the biggest lesson that I'd like to share with you is sometimes you have to break apart the old. You have to take things apart. You have to look at it. You have to inspect it. And you do have to rearrange things a little bit while still holding on to keeping things together. We'll try to fix our relationship while trying to keep the old aspects of the relationship. We'll try to fix a part of our business while still keeping all of these old projects. And it's a very slow process if it actually works. You can't always keep what is old in order to create something new. And sometimes that means that you have to break things apart a little bit and really look at the inner workings of it. So as I moved on and then learned how to build an app, my first instinct was go buy a book and just start learning how to do things. That entire book was code. I, my solution to computers is usually to hit them to assert my dominance. And if that doesn't work, then it's broke. So I realized that this was going to take classes. This was going to take help. This was going to take something that was way above what I had even anticipated this being. So eventually I found a class, enrolled, and got some basic frameworks up. And then one day I deleted a very key part of that app, which destroyed the entire thing. And I had to start entirely over. I did not realize that there was an undo button that would work for it. And so I gave it a couple days and it was just broke. There was no fixing it. There was no taking it apart. Yeah, Tony, it was one of those moments where you scream into a pillow and your neighbors knock on the door and wonder if you're okay. It was bad, guys. So I did end up having to ask for help yet again. And I ended up having to have them send me a whole new framework, a whole new, I had to have my class send me a whole new set of frameworks that I could build off of again. But the second time I built it, I got it done much quicker, obviously, right? Because I had already done it before. Call Christian. Okay, I got to hook up with Christian then. Um, so the moral of that story is sometimes it is all going to break absolutely to hell. When you take things apart, you're going to risk breaking the crap out of it. And that's going to be okay. Sometimes you're going to have to rebuild it from the ground up. But the second time you build it from the ground up, you don't have to figure it out as much. You are going to know just a little bit more than you did last time. As you're going to remember some old things that you use that you can carry through. So I guess if I could share only one thing with you guys today, it's don't be afraid to be a bit of don't be afraid to be a bit of a mad scientist. Don't be afraid to be a bit of a MacGyver in your own business. Don't be afraid to look at the things that really aren't working and take them apart. If they break completely, guess what? You can fix them. And guess what? It's probably going to come back even better when you've started it from the ground up. It's not going to have all those little tiny things that maybe you said, okay, well, we can deal with that later. Okay, well, we can deal with that later. Okay. No, once it breaks completely, you've got a fresh start. Failure is inevitable. Just fail faster and you'll get to your goal more. Yes, absolutely, Heather. Um, there's a story that my uncle told about my cousins. I have a cousin Jess and a cousin Lance. And he told my mom when they were learning how to snowboard, you look at Jess and she goes very, very slowly and she goes very, very carefully and she gets everything right and she makes sure that she has everything right before she goes further. And then you look at Lance and Lance gets up, falls down, gets up, falls down, gets up, falls down, gets up, falls down. But you notice that Lance learns a lot faster. And that is my message to you on this awesome Friday as we go into the weekend. Don't be afraid to mess things up. You can't mess this up. Yes, you can make mistakes, but the only time that you can really mess up your destiny is if you sit on your couch and say, nope, I'm just going to watch the Weather Channel for the rest of my life. You cannot mess up that which is meant for you. And so go ahead and have a little fun with it. Get curious. And when you break things apart, you also get a deeper understanding of everything that you had. It's really, yeah, I gotta tell you, it's really fun sometimes. Sometimes you're going to be screaming into a pillow, but other times you're going to go, oh my God. And just if I could wish one thing for you, it's that you get to cackle with glee today. And that is, I think that's about all I have to offer you. That's the most important thing I can offer you is have fun with it.
What can you talk to us a little bit
Oh,
about, can you hear me?
I can't really hear you, Jim. I'm sorry. Is that me or you? Let me see.
Can,
Jim, we
Oh,
can't hear
you hear
you.
me? No?
No, I think that's you, Jim.
Yeah,
yeah.
nobody can hear you.
Can
Hit
you hear
it. Yes. Wait, oh, no, you came on for a second.
The host keeps muting me. They don't want to hear what I have to say. Is that
Bring him
Brock? Brock,
on.
what are you doing in the background? I know it ain't your bomb VA team muting me. I know it ain't them. They're too good to me. Um, One of the things that I think is extremely interesting. Well, first of all, can we throw a five in the chat for Chelsea? Just kind of coming in hot, dropping bombs, like the whole piece on, just failing forward and, going all in on stuff and tinkering with things and realizing that, you can break it and rebuild it and learn through it. I think that's just such an amazing lesson. And I think back of so many times in my life where, you know, you start to walk a certain path and you start to test things and you start to try things and it doesn't go like you planned, right? And you're like, all right, well, the last time I did this, I crushed it. Like we were flying high, we were making things happen. We were rocking and rolling, baby, rocking and rolling. And then you hit this wall, you hit this scenario, these situations where you start to stumble when you walk, right? And at that point, in a lot of ways, for me, I get in this flow and I'm like, all right, yo, like I'm walking, but I'm ready to run. I am ready to run. I'm ready to go. It's gonna happen. And then boom, I start to stumble.
Ooh, I think you might be talking about the IF and hate this point. It's that
And
it's that point right after beginner's luck and right before you really make progress and you're in the middle and you think you should know more than you do, but you don't. And there's this moment of just I effing hate this. And if you can get past the I effing hate this point, that's when the magic happens, like you were saying. I love it.
well, I think too, through that process, obviously with what I speak about and talk about on stages and my podcast and guest appearances and all that is in those moments when you're 50-50, right? And you're starting to stumble. And maybe there's some regression. Maybe there's a couple steps backwards. Maybe there's a situation that you can't control and you're frustrated and you're stumped. You know, do you continue to move forward? And if you do continue to move forward, who's in your corner to push you when you're 50-50 in that decision? When you want to take two steps back, but you know you need to push forward two steps and you're on that 50-50%. Do I go left? Do I go right? Do I go backwards? Do I go forward? Who's in your corner that you can lean on? Who's in your corner that you can reach out to? Who's in your corner that you know is going to shoot you straight, that's going to guide you, that's going to advise you, that's going to show up for you, that's going to give you perspective outside of the limited scope in which they are navigating in that moment today? And when I think about those things and I think about those people and I think about where I want to go and how I want to get there, it always comes back to the someone. It's never the something, right? We think in such a mechanical way of how to get forward. Well, maybe it's this thing I need, this solution, this app, this product. Heck, let's be real, folks. Maybe it's this new AI tool, right? And there's a new one being built every single day when it comes to AI. There's a new solution. There's a new Claude. There's Claude Code. There's OpenClaw. There's Gemini. There's Grok. There's Scribed, right? I can list off 7,000 because I chased them all. But the reason why I was chasing all of those AI tools was because I didn't reach out to the someone that was going to push me forward, the 1%, because the person who knows me most knows where my heart is. They know where my head is. They know where my mind is, and they know where my skill set lies. And most importantly, that person close to you, that person in your life that's going to push you the 1% forward to move toward your dreams, to move toward you changing the world, creating impact, loving on people, putting people in homes, building products, showing up, providing services. That person in your life that's going to push you that 1%, they know your heart. They know how important that thing is to you. And guess what, folks? We've probably heard this a million times, but in most cases, in some cases, it's probably not your family member. It's probably not your brother, right? I remember when I went back in 2023 and I threw my first big conference, I put $240,000 on the line, all liquid cash, my own money. And when you do conferences, Brock knows this, you got to pay that money first. That venue wanted their 65,000. They wanted their 25,000 for the filet mignon we served at lunch. Those speakers wanted their fees before that conference started, right? And when I think back in those times, I wanted to run away. I didn't want to move forward. But as I think through it, and I make commitments to people, and I tell people I'm going to help them, and I got to tell people I'm going to introduce them, and I'm going to connect them. I'm going to bring speakers based on what they said they need, how they need help, who they want to talk to get to the next step, the next level. Well, I made a commitment. So when I go to my brother, who's my family member, and I tell him, and he's like, dude, just bow out now. You're $70,000 in. Just get out now. He wants to protect me. He wants to keep me small. He doesn't want me to take the risk because he cares for me and loves for me. But when I call my best friend tells me this, Jim, bro, how many times has your back been up against the wall? Jim, how many times have you not been able to figure it out? Did you die? Did you break? Did you disassemble into little pieces? Did you shatter and not have the glue to put yourself back together? No. You fought your way out of it. You did it for a reason. There was a lesson. You're going to move forward. You're going to make it happen. And guess what, folks? I'm still here talking to you 3 years later. Still here smiling with my new gangsta chain on. Y'all like this thing? Look at this thing. My wife got this. I'm feeling froggy today with this little chain. But I'm still here. I'm still smiling. I'm still living. Heck, I told the woman yesterday at the coffee shop, she's like, how you doing? I said, I'm living lavishly. She looked at me. She said, oh, I like that. I'm living large. I woke up today. I was like, all right, I just found a new bestie. We're hanging out. What's your name? Emily. I like you. Let me buy you a cup of coffee. You work here, but I'm buying you a cup of coffee, Emily. So I think what you're saying, Chelsey, is there's that internal understanding. There's that relationship with yourself to tinker with things. There's a relationship with yourself to understand that you're not going to die. That if you take this step forward, you may get knocked back too. It may feel like you're stumbling. You may not get to that stage of running. But in those moments, it's not like you broke your leg and you can't walk ever again.
I absolutely, oh, go ahead.
No, I was actually gonna pass the torch back to you. I'd love for you to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes and kind of dive into that and keep kind of sharing what's on your heart and mind.
Oh man, Jim, I love it when you get on a roll. I love it when you geek out because there's just like this your entire face lights up, and it is so fun. It is so fun to see you talking about this and lighting up like this.
I told
It's
someone yesterday, they said, what do you do? I said, I like to talk a lot. They're like, oh, really? I was like, yeah, I like to run my mouth. I get paid for it. Who would have thought?
which is something you can do with a broken leg. You don't have to. Look, if I can't run my legs, I'll run my mouth. But yeah, you hit the nail right on the head, and you hit something that is perfect about the connection. Yes, so many people think that figuring it out means that you're alone by that point. A lot of us have had to figure out things from a place of being alone, and we've got nowhere else to turn. But we forget that part of figuring it out is figuring it out in who can I ask for help? Maybe all the people that I thought I could ask for help, maybe all the people that I thought I wanted to ask for help aren't going to be on that roster. Who can I talk to? And you mentioned something that really, I guess I do resonate, and I also resonate from a different place. For me, it's my tinkering has always been from a place of curiosity. It's always been from a place of, okay, how can there's a curiousness. I've always been a little thread puller, and I think it's what makes me good at what I do with the hypnosis, because I just love pulling that thread and following that line. But if I could encourage you guys to do anything when you're in that moment of fear, when you're in the moment where you have a rock and a hard place and they are coming together quick, start getting curious. Curiosity vanquishes fear. And there's a lot of really powerful on this call, and you've pushed through a lot of things. And my encouragement to you is, if you feel like you're just pushing, 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 and you are fighting and life is fighting you back, it might be okay to take a step back and get curious instead. I'm not saying don't keep moving forward. I'm saying conserve your energy for when you really need it, and get curious about the situation, because then when you get curious, that's a natural way of seeing things in a new light, and you can figure it out in a much easier way, so that you have the energy to take that solution and run with it, to really, instead of feeling that exhaustion and feeling that fight against life, take it and make it a game. Take it and make it a curiosity. Okay, cool. What's this trying to show me? If all the doors are closed, where are my windows? And just like Jim said, never stop moving forward. The only time you failed, and y'all know this is something that is so beautiful about Jim, and I'm assuming Brock's community, me on, you all know that you only fail when you stop. So keep going and keep running and stay curious. Stay a mad scientist, cackle with glee, enjoy what you do, get that geeky little satisfaction out of figuring things out, because there's a joy that comes in figuring things out. The human brain loves to connect a loop. It's why advertising works. But the brain loves to connect a loop. So go ahead and let yourself enjoy it. Let yourself have fun with it. And know that figuring it out have to mean that you're alone. Figuring it out sometimes means figuring out the people to talk to next, and really kind of getting that joy of figuring out the surprising people that were there for you. And just Jim, I mean, that story is always so powerful. And every time you tell it, I learn a new layer. And everything that your brother said was from love. Everything that your friend said was from love. But look for the people who have enough love for you to kick your butt a little bit, I guess is the, and again, I know they both love you deeply, but I always find a great amount of joy in the people who love me enough to call my butt out.
Does anybody want to share and get vulnerable and real a little bit about a scenario that things didn't go right recently and they moved through it? I'd love to hear from someone on the call this morning and kind of just share your experience with taking that next step forward. Who's feeling like they want to make an impact by being vulnerable and real and giving us a little share this morning.
My old French teacher used to say, don't let the fickle finger of fate decide.
I'll do Jeopardy. Do, 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 do. Someone's got something. Are y'all perfect? Am I on the call with all perfectionists? People that are just killing it 24/7? I don't know. I don't know how real that is.
All right, I'll share.
Yeah.
I'll share. Y'all know I do real estate investing, and I had a house that, when you create your budget for your hard money lenders, and they want to stick to that budget because you're doing your draws at different times, and I had a house where I had budgeted for the plumbing repair to be $2,500, and so that's when you go in and you start the work and you get everything going and all that. The first things you work on in the house are the structural things, your electrical, your plumbing, your HVAC. You get all those things done first in the proper order of events, kind of thing. So right off the bat, the plumber comes in and says, oh, by the way, there's some issues behind these walls here that we're going to need to come in and tear up a few of these walls going up to the second floor, kind of thing. And I said, oh, okay, interesting. And I said, what's this going to run? And so he tells me 15 grand. So I get a couple more quotes. The next one tells me, 13.5. And I get another recommendation for somebody else to come in and give me a quote. And he tells me 9 grand. And the 9 grand guy, I'm like, okay, can you talk me through this? I said, because this is not in my budget. I said, is there anything I can do, right? Because I'm kind of a little MacGyverish as well, Chelsey, right? Not afraid to go to YouTube University. I can pull this wall out. I can do some of the demo, right? Like, will that help with the cost, kind of thing, or whatever? And he's like, yeah, that's fine. All that. He said, but still, he said, the demo is truly, he said, this is just what it's going to cost to get this completed for you. In other words, it's not going to help. And so here I go to my business partner who's helping, with this house. And I'm like, listen, we need to call our hard money lender and see what we can do, with our budget to come through this now. And she and I are shaking in our shoes. When I tell you, we are trying to figure out, like, okay, because you don't want to come out of your own pocket with anything like this, because you've planned, you've prepared, you've done, whatever. And so we reached out to the hard money lender, and he said, we'll go through your budget. He said, look and see, is there anything in here where we can redirect some of this money? In other words, does the roof need to be replaced, or can it be repaired in places and pressure washed? Did y'all know you can pressure wash a roof and make it look brand new? Right. Who knows these things, right? But you can't. You got to be careful with it. But anyway, and that's what we did. We redirected the roofing money to the plumbing money. So there's always a way. There's always a way. So sometimes it's not truly that you don't know, but the fear comes when we aren't asking the right questions, right? Just ask more questions. Ask more questions, because overcoming is not so much, something that we have to look inside for sometimes, but it's what we have to turn and be vulnerable and humble enough and willing and bold enough to ask, how can we get through this together? How can we do this? Or whatever. So that was our overcoming, that was our plumbing overcoming issue. And he let me help with some of it, what I could do. I was his little, willing, able helper there. Like, what do you need now? Like, what's in the truck? What can I go get? And he'd tell me, and I'm like literally walking to his truck, Googling, what does this look like? I don't know what he sent me for, right? I didn't tell him that, right? Because he's just trusting me to go get whatever. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot going through that. And so I know moving forward that that's what when I mentor new real estate investors, I tell them have, that money in your budget somewhere that you're going to put a new roof on, whether you plan to or not, that you're going to pave the driveway, whether you plan to or not, because that's money that's in there for that surprise that we all know comes with every house. There's always a surprise.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing, Sherry. I appreciate that. Um, well,
That was
we're at
amazing.
time, so I just want to say thank you to Chelsey Albert. Throw a 10 in the chat. Give her some love. She's an amazing human being, amazing keynote speaker. Her app, Tasklandia, really gamifies your projects and how you navigate life. And I want to leave y'all on this lovely Friday with one quote. And that quote is, "Only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly." Take the step, move through the tough, sticky, ugly, icky scenarios. On the other side of the biggest wall is the greatest thing that you can imagine. Thank y'all for being here. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see y'all soon.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful, guys. Y'all are amazing. And thank you, Brock, and thank you, Jim. This just filled my heart this morning. Thanks for being here, guys. And thanks for inviting me.
Of course. See y'all. Peace.